So 6.4 elementary algebra. Alright, let's write it so you can read it. And equations involving rational expressions. So rational expression, for all intents and purposes for what we're doing, are just going to be numbers that can be written as fractions. And I'm supposed to solve for x. Okay? So what I'm going to do here is a little bit different. And it's not that you have to learn all these different ways of doing things. It's just another way of doing what we've already done. So it's not that, oh my gosh, which way do I do it now? You do it the way you want, okay? But this way seems to be a little bit easier for folks. And you can do it only when you have an equal sign. So what we do is we put parentheses around the whole stinking thing, and we find the common denominator. The common denominator of 3 and 2, the smallest number that 3 and 2 will both equally or go evenly into, which is going to be 6. So what I do is I multiply the entire thing by 6. So I distribute that 6. Okay, so I just distributed that 6 here, here, and here. Okay, so what happens here? I have 6x over 3, which is 2x. 6 over 3 is 2. Here I have a 2, and that 6 is a 3, right? The 6 over 2 is 3. 3 times 5 is 15. And 6 times 1/2, or half of 6, is 3. And lo and behold, I got rid of my fractions. And then I just solve it. 2x equals 15, or 3 minus 15 is negative 12. X equals negative 6. And that's the way, that's the answer. Okay? So did you notice what I did? I just multiplied the whole thing by the least common denominator there. Alright, let's try another one. This will be example 2. And we have 3 over x minus 1. And we're saying that equals 3/5. Alright, so you could cross multiply and solve for x, and that would work fine. But let's keep practicing this. Let's look at the least common denominator here. Okay, when I have something like this, which is actually grouped together, I can't split those up. When I have something like that, and then a number here, the least common denominator is the product of those two. So the least common denominator is this whole thing. Okay? So when you have something like that, just multiply it. And then I multiply it by 3 over x minus 1. And that equals 3 over 5. Whoops, let's put this all in the right order. 5 times x minus 1 times 3 over 5. Okay? And look what I can do here. I can cancel that with that, and that 5 with that. And what happened? I got rid of 5 times 3 is 15, and 3 times x minus 1. I got rid of the denominators. And I'm going to distribute that 3. I'm going to add 3. I have 18 equals 3x, divide by 3, and my x equals 18 over 3, which is 6. Okay? So not too terribly difficult there. So if you're having a little bit of a struggle trying to find out where that stinking common denominator comes from, let's do another one. And we have 1 minus 5 over x equals negative 6 over x squared. Okay. Oh golly, what is the least common denominator here? Well, I can write this as 1 over 1, and I can do what I've done in the past. I can say, alright, let's look at each one of these denominators. What am I missing here that I have here and here? Well, I'm missing an x, but I'm also, that's what I'm missing here. But what am I missing that's over here? An x squared. So if I put an x squared here, that covers my x from here as well, because I have 2 of them. So if I have 2 of them here, then I know I at least have 1, so I don't have to worry about the 1. Okay, and what am I missing here? Well, I've got an x squared there, so I'm missing another x. And what am I missing here? Nothing. So nothing gets changed to that. So I have x squared over x squared minus 5x over x squared equals negative 6 over x squared. Alright, so what is my common denominator? X squared. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply the whole thing by x squared. Okay, so x squared. So this is just like I did on the other one. And I will be able to get rid of all my denominators this way. And that's what I was trying to do. Alright, let's see if we can move this up. So that cancels, and that cancels. So I've got x squared here minus 5x equals 6. So x squared minus 5x minus 6 equals 0. And at this point, I can do a handy-dandy break into two binomials. Two numbers multiplied together give me 6, and added together give me 5. So added and multiplied. Okay, I know why I was having a problem. I forgot to bring that negative down there. And then when I bring it there, that's plus. Now when I multiply those together, sorry about that. You're probably catching on thinking, Mr. Leiter, you're an idiot. Okay, so x equals 2, and it also equals 3. And that's your answer there. Okay, brings me to example number 4. So let's go ahead and get rid of my stuff here. Alright, example 4. We have x over x squared minus 9 minus 3 over x minus 3 equals 1 over x plus 3. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to take this and break it down, because that's a difference of two squares. So this is something that you just learn that is there just after doing it a lot. You might not have caught that right away, but that's what that is. Alright, so what is my least common denominator here? Well, I've got an x plus 3 and an x minus 3. There's an x minus 3, there's an x plus 3. My least common denominator is if I were to multiply these two together or these two together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this. I'm going to do this. So let me show you what that's going to look like. X plus 3 times x minus 3 times so I'm just rewriting what I have above, but I didn't have room to put this here. So I'm going to distribute this whole thing to this, and to this. Alright, watch what happens when I do that. Watch what happens when I get junk out of here. Alright, I'm going to make my pen smaller so I can write smaller. Okay, so see how I'm distributing it there. Minus. Okay, alright, you would use use red to cancel. That and that with that and that. That with that. That with that. Whoops. Wrong that. That. Alright, let's write what we've got. We've got x minus, so I've got that left and that left, equals just that. Okay, I'm going to distribute that. And I get minus 3x minus 9, because negative 3 times 3 is 9. It's minus 3. I'm going to subtract that. X minus 3x is negative 2x minus 9 equals x minus 3. Okay, sorry for those that can do all this in your head and don't need to go through the long process. Alright, so this is where we stop. Alright, let's see. I'm going to subtract x from both sides. So I've got negative 3x add 9 divide by negative 3 and x equals 2. And that's what I get for an answer. Alright, so I'm going to keep going with these. We've got a couple more examples. Looks like 2 more examples in this lesson. But this just takes practice. It's just going to take doing it over and over and over for you to get it. So don't get discouraged if it's hard or if you don't get it the first time here.